Scholars have assembled a timeline concerning the publication history of the Nights. One of the oldest Arabic manuscript fragments from Syria. A few handwritten pages, dating to the early 9th century. Discovered by scholar Nabia Abbott in 1948. It bears the title Kitab Hadith ʿAlf-Laylah, the Book of the Tale of the Thousand Nights, and the first few lines of the book in which Dinarzade asks Scheherazade to tell her stories. 10th century. Mention of Hezār Afsān in Ibn al-Nadim's Fihrist Catalogue of Books in Baghdad. He attributes a pre-Islamic Sasanian Persian origin to the collection and refers to the frame story of Scheherazade telling stories over 1,000 nights to save her life. 10th century. Reference to the Thousand Nights. An Arabic translation of the Persian Hezār Afsān, Thousand Stories, in Maruj al-Dahab, The Meadows of Gold, by al-Mas'udi. 12th century. A document from Cairo refers to a Jewish bookseller lending a copy of the 1001 Nights. This is the first appearance of the final form of the title. 14th century. Existing Syrian manuscript in the Bibliothèque nationale de France in Paris. Contains about 300 tales. 1704, Antoine Galland's French translation is the first European version of the Nights. Later volumes were introduced using Galland's name, though the stories were written by unknown persons at the behest of the publisher wanting to capitalize on the popularity of the collection. Quote, c. 1706 c. 1721, an anonymously translated version in English appears in Europe dubbed the 12-volume Grub Street version. This is entitled Arabian Nights Entertainments, the first known use of the common English title of the work. 1768, first Polish translation. 12 volumes. Based, as many European on the French translation. 1775, Egyptian version of the Nights called Zer. Hermann Zottenberg's Egyptian recension. With 200 tales. No surviving edition exists. 1804–1806. 1825, the Austrian polyglot and Orientalist Joseph von Hammer-Purgstall. 1774–1856. Translates a subsequently lost manuscript into French between 1804 and 1806. His French translation, which was partially abridged and included Galland's orphan stories, has been lost, but its translation into German that was published in 1825 still survives. 1814, Calcutta I. The earliest existing Arabic printed version is published by the British East India Company. A second volume was released in 1818. Both had 100 tales each. 1811, Jonathan Scott. 1754–1829. An Englishman who learned Arabic and Persian in India. Produces an English translation, mostly based on Galland's French version. Supplemented by other sources. Robert Irwin calls it the first literary translation into English. In contrast to earlier translations from French by Grub Street hacks. Early 19th century. Modern Persian translations of the text are made variously under the title ʿAlf-Layl va-Layl, Hezār o Yek Shab, or, in distorted Arabic, ʿAlf al-Lay. Muhammad Bakir Khurasani Buzanjirdi. B. 1770. Finalized his translation in 1814. Patronized by Henry Russell, 2nd Baronet. 1783–1852. British resident in Hyderabad. 3 decades later, Abdul Latif Tasuji completed his translation. It was later illustrated by Sani ol Moke. 1814–1866. For Muhammad Shah Khayar. 1825–1838, the Breslau, Habicht edition is published in Arabic in 8 volumes. Christian Maximilian Habicht. Born in Breslau. Kingdom of Prussia. 1775. Collaborated with the Tunisian Mordecai ibn al-Najjar to create this edition containing 1001 nights. In addition to the Galland manuscript, they used what they believed to be a Tunisian manuscript, which was later revealed as a forgery by al-Najjar. Using versions of the Nights, Tales from al-Najjar, and other stories from unknown origins, Habicht published his version in Arabic and German. 1842–1843, 4 additional volumes by Habicht. 1835, Bulaq version. These 2 volumes, printed by the Egyptian government, are the oldest printed, by a publishing house, version of the Nights in Arabic by a non-European. It is primarily a reprinting of the Zér text. 1839–1842, Calcutta 2. 4 volumes. Is published. It claims to be based on an older Egyptian manuscript, which was never found. This version contains many elements and stories from the Habicht edition. 1838, Torrens version in English. 1838–1840, Edward William Lane publishes an English translation. Notable for its exclusion of content Lane found immoral and for its anthropological notes on Arab customs by Lane. 1882–1884, John Payne publishes an English version translated entirely from Calcutta 2. Adding some tales from Calcutta I and Breslau. 1885–1888, Sir Richard Francis Burton publishes an English translation from several sources. Largely the same as Payne. His version accentuated the sexuality of the stories vis-a-vis Lane's bowdlerized translation. 1889–1904, J. C. Madras publishes a French version using Bulaq and Calcutta 2 editions. 1973, first Polish translation based on the original language edition, but compressed 12 volumes to 9. By P.I.W. 1984, Muhsin Mahdi publishes an Arabic edition based on the oldest Arabic manuscript surviving. Based on the oldest surviving Syrian manuscript currently held in the Bibliothèque Nationale. 1986–1987, French translation by Arabist René R. Kawam. 1990, Hussein Hadawi publishes an English translation of Mahdi. 2008, New Penguin Classics translation. In 3 volumes. By Malcolm C. Lyons and Ursula Lyons of the Calcutta 2 edition.